Okay, hello. Welcome to week 6. You're over halfway. How does that feel? Okay, so still do the reading. I know the midterm, I thought it was going to be from primarily from the class readings, but there are so many important events that I don't want you to miss. So they were snuck into the midterm. All right. Let me know if you just prefer a blah, multiple choice, true or false, short answer. Let me know. But if you prefer learning some of these momentous events a little closer, a little better, the final might look similar to the midterm. But I do welcome your opinion. Okay, so this week you're reading chapter 5, decolonization. That's really something that was going on during the Cold War, which is largely between the USSR and the United States, but it really impacted the whole world. And what I hope I remember to do when I write your final is a couple of years ago, Tucker Carlson, I know everybody, I lose everybody there, but just hang with me. He interviewed Vladimir Putin. And so that's really something interesting about our age in which we live. A world leader will sit down in these long form podcasts. And of course, he has an agenda. We all have an agenda, always. We're self-interested. But he gives a fabulous history of some of this colonization that occurred in Russia. And at the time, they're discussing the war in Ukraine. And so he gives the history of Russia and Ukraine. It's fabulous. And so you may see that on your final. It's not linked to this week. I gave you a lighter week this week because you really worked hard last week. So decolonization. So we are taking areas that we've been occupying. So for example, the United States during the Manifest Destiny period. And we're formalizing things. England had several colonies in Africa. For example, there are countries in Africa that speak English better than I do. So we're looking at just the decolonization in South America and various other places. So that's the text reading. Then for your assignment, you're putting yourself in the place of someone who lived during the time period of the topic that you selected in week 1. So, and that, remember, that's the topic you're using for your final semester project, and please be reading the book that you selected. So you're going to compose 10 journal entries. They need to be at least 3 sentences. They lived in a time when they couldn't go home and just endlessly scroll their phone, right? So you're going to, fictionalize a day in the life, so to speak. And you'll have 10 journal entries that you just highlight. It just helps us understand what life was like. We always, when we study history, there is a danger of presentism. We see it as we are today with the tools, the resources, the knowledge, the hindsight. And so you're going to put yourself in the shoes of somebody living during the time period of your topic. And it can be even the subject of your topic. And you're going to fictionalize 10 journal entries, 3 sentences each. I tried to be really specific in the directions, but let me know if you have any questions. All right. Thank you and have a great week.